say, all right, a house sold in the year 2000, 2005, and again in 2010 if it did. And they say, how's that sales price changing over time? And then they can get a sense of what that means in terms of price appreciation and depreciation. So you can see from the blue and the red. The MLS is what we're seeing from the green bar here. And remember, this is more a reflection of consumer preferences, what consumers wanting to buy, because rather than telling us house over house, it's saying, let's look at a particular group of houses that sold in, say, 2000, and look at a group of houses that sold in 2005, and then compare those median or average prices. So because we're not necessarily looking at the same houses, the houses that sold in 2000 aren't going to be exactly the same group that sold in 2005. That doesn't really give us a good measure of house price appreciation or depreciation. It gives us a measure of consumer preferences. What are they telling us that they want in terms of the prices of the house, as well as the different characteristics that change over time as well. And so what we see there is that we saw, as we would expect, a huge drop-off in 2009 compared to 2008 because people were more thrifty. They were worried about losing their job. They didn't want to spend money when they didn't have to. A small drop-off in 2011 compared to 2010, but look at 2010 compared to 2009. We saw an actual increase there in MLS prices, and I think what we're seeing there is the effect of the tax credit. How much was the tax credit? Number about $8,000, right? $8,000 new home buyer tax credit that we saw. Okay, well, if you have $8,000 more in your pocket, then you're more likely to spend more money on a house, which is very intuitive. You would expect for people to be paying, on average, slightly more for their house. But what's really interesting, I thought, was that the median price in Charleston, South Carolina, according to the MLS, is about $200,000. Notice what the percent increase in 2010 over 2009 was in the price of the house, about 4%. What's 4% of 200,000? $8,000. So I think that's a really interesting example of how the tax credit has a real effect, and it shows how it changes customer preferences because they have more money in their pocket and they're going out and largely spending it. Okay, one final thing I want to look at in terms of MLS data is actually look at some of the different submarkets in Charleston. So one of the ways to look at the Charleston market or any housing market is to break it down into quintiles, because then we can get some perspective on how different market areas are lining up and are changing in terms of the price distribution.